Hello everyone and welcome to Football Manager 2024. It's been a long time since I did a series on YouTube, but I'm excited for the new game and thought I'd give it a spin and see how we can get on with our trusty beta save with Newcastle United, especially given the excellent place that we find Newcastle upon taking over the club. They are back in the Champions League. It's an amazing time to be a Newcastle fan, having seen the games already this season, and I am very excited to see what we can achieve, although slightly daunted with how the competition expectations are now lined up and at how the transfer budget has been decimated by the club's presumably financial fair play restraints. You can see we've only got a £5 million transfer budget, and next season it's set for just £30 million. We do have some wage budget to play with, but realistically I'm going to have to make do with the squad that I've got or try to sell some players on, and that's all because of the financial fair play. Until we can boost the commercial value of the club, it's not going to be an easy ride. Whereas last time in the game last season, they did give us just unlimited resources. I think everyone now is aware of how difficult financial fair play will be for Newcastle moving forward. However, the one set of people that don't seem to understand that are the board, where they are expecting us to qualify again for the Champions League, which is much easier said than done. And then they also want me to be competitive in the Champions League and reach the FA Cup semi-final. So they've got quite lofty expectations for a team which is not necessarily the strongest. If we have a look at the Premier League, and then see the season preview. Oh, they do have us down to finish in 4th place. They think we're going to do better than Man United, Chelsea and Spurs, which, I'm not so sure about that, but apparently our squad is just that good. Speaking of the squad, you can see we've got 4 goalkeepers in there. I've already put Martin Dubravka up for sale. I think Nick Pope's the obvious number 1. And then between Gillespie and Karius, we've certainly got enough to be getting on with. That's a big gap there. I guess I'll fix that another time. And then in defence, Lascelles, Shah, Dummett. I mean, all 3 of them would probably be moved on in the summer if I had my way. Dan Burn I'd keep for his flexibility at left back and in the centre. Botman is obviously world-class. Kieran Trippier needs no introduction. Livramento is another good future prospect, long-term heir to Kieran Trippier's position. Matt Targett is decent. Javi Manquillo's now up for sale as well, because I don't think we need him with the cover we've got a right and left back. Lewis Hall, another world-class prospect that we brought in, who's going to do an excellent job for us, currently on loan from Chelsea, but will be joining us in the summer of next year. Then Bruno Guimaraes, obviously world class. Sean Longstaff still in there. Sandro Tonali, also world class. Matt Ritchie is up for sale as well. I've got no need for him in the team. Joe Willock's out for 3 or 4 months, so sometime before we see him again. Joe Linton is excellent. Harvey Barnes is a good signing. Elliot Anderson is again going to grow into a great player. Jacob Murphy, I was tempted to put up for sale, but I just love him too much as a Newcastle fan, so he's going to be continuing in the club as a backup option with Miggy up there with Anthony Gordon, and then Callum Wilson and Isak. And to be fair, as you go through the squad, you do sort of see where that squad depth is coming from. I think we might be a little bit light in our attacking positions on the wings, but we'll wait and see. I mean, ideally we'd have kept Sam Maximan this season, but we are where we are. Now, the tactic that I'm going to start with this season, if we have a little look here, you can see we're going for the 4-3-3 dynamite that I was using in FM23. I love the 4-3-3. I always have. I love the wingers. I love the sole strike, and I like controlling the middle of the pitch as well. And I think this will suit the type of players that we've got in the club. Whether it will work with the new match engine does need to be seen, but we will try and make the best of what we've got in this squad. I'm really not expecting to sign many, if any, players with the small budget we've got. We might be able to raise about 10-15 million through player sales if we're very lucky, but I just don't think it's much of a realistic prospect. And then looking ahead at our friendlies, we've got a bunch of difficult European teams to test our strength again. Paul Dummett's having a testimonial with Olympique Marseille. And then we kick off the Premier League season with a tough away match against Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Palace, and then Brighton. It's a pretty mismatched start to the season where there's no huge teams until we get to Man City in mid-October, and then it's like all of them at once. So, I mean, that really is City, United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea. That is a tough little run of fixtures, but hopefully we can put in some good performances. Who knows how Champions League fixtures might rearrange that schedule as well. We can straight into the group stage, which will be fun, and then we'll wait and see. I think 5th place might also be enough for us in the Premier League this season, with the way the new coefficient system works, and we are the top league in the coefficients right now, probably due to Man City winning the Champions League, but we'll wait and see if 5th place will be enough and if I'll get sacked for finishing in 5th anyway, based on these board expectations. It's going to be tricky, but we will wait and see how we do. So what I'll probably do now is just get through pre-season, get to that first game of the season against Aston Villa, and we will see how we hold up. It is the start of the season now as we get ready to take on Aston Villa. Pre-season was, I think, reasonably good. Draws with Atletico Madrid at home, Inter Milan away, very respectable. A little bit disappointed to lose 2-1 to Roma, but I think getting, one defeat out of those first 3 games is not too bad. We then managed to beat Marseille 2-0 in Paul Dummett's testimonial. Paul Dummett did not play in his own testimonial. And then we had victories over San Sebastian and Borussia Mönchengladbach, which were very comprehensive. And that's probably about the level I would pitch us at. If we're drawn against teams like these in the Champions League group, we're going to be okay. If we're drawn against too many of these teams, it's going to be pretty difficult. And we'll be hoping for a sort of 3rd place and above finish in the group. But I'm fairly happy with pre-season. The big blow was that Bruno Guimaraes did get injured. He was out for about 3 months, which is a huge blow to our season. And it kind of necessitated my involvement in the transfer market. We did manage to shift a couple of players on. So we have had Javi Manquillo leave for 3.6 million. Martin Dubravka leave for 3.5 million. And then a few small sort of player movements outside of that as well. And then in terms of players signed, we've brought in Facundo Torres. He has joined us from Orlando, £15 million signing. He's from Uruguay. He's done pretty well, reasonably well known in the MLS circuit, and he can play in those front 3 attacking midfield positions, which is where I flagged earlier that I was slightly worried about our squad depth. He's also quite young. I mean, look at how his value has shot up since we signed him. So it's a decent investment. Never mind how much playing time he actually ends up getting. Now, the other transfer that I am looking to make is to bring in Eduardo Bove. He plays for Roma, a very good wonder kid, just breaking into the team there. He looks reasonably decent, so I'm quite keen to bring him in. I would have liked to scout him more, but with Bruno getting injured and then a decent bid coming in for Sean Longstaff from West Ham, I wasn't keen to sell Sean Longstaff. He's a decent Premier League midfielder, but I think Bove will probably do a better job. And the money from Longstaff going will also potentially allow me to sign a slightly more experienced centre midfielder. I'm looking at potentially a 30-plus years old midfielder that I can bring in for sort of 60 minutes or off the bench just to keep the squad fresh as we go into those Champions League rotations. So that's where my thinking is at the moment around that. I really didn't want to sell Sean Longstaff as an academy graduate, but I don't think he's going to play that much for us if I do keep him. So I'd rather take the 17 million and run with it because it's just good money. But saying that, this is where we're going to be for the game against Aston Villa. We are away from home. We're sticking with the tactic we picked out at the start of the season. So in goal, we'll have Nick Pope and then a defensive unit made up of Target, Botman, Lascelles and Trippier. Shah drops to the bench for this one because I've kept Lascelles as captain. I want to actually see if we can give him some game time early in the season or if he becomes a liability. Then you have the midfield unit with Tonali, Joe Linton and Anderson coming in for the injured Bruno, but when you look at the bench, you can see how thin that squad depth is in central midfield. I literally don't have a player to bring on at the moment, which is a real shame. And then we have Torres and Almiron on the wings with Isak up top. And this is going to be a very interesting first game of the season because I have no idea how this new match engine works. I have no idea if this tactic's going to work. And we're missing one of our key players in Bruno. Aston Villa lining up with Ollie Watkins up there, Diaby and Zaniolo, McGinn, Douglas Luiz and Boubacar Kamara their midfield. Then Digne, Torres, Concert and Cash, Martinez in goal. It's a really strong Aston Villa team with Unai Emery up there as well. This is not going to be an easy match, but let's see what we can do here with the new match engine and if we can get a decent win. I quite like the new graphics. No highlights coming up just yet, but you can see Digne here puts the ball in and Pau Torres with the header. And what has happened there is Nick Pope just dropped that ball. It certainly looked like Nick Pope just dropped that ball. That is awful if he's done that. Digne put the ball in. He's pushed it off the line, and Douglas Luiz was just waiting for exactly that to plod that ball over the line into the back of the net. But here's Matt Targett. He picks out Almiron beautifully. The ball's got in, and Isak is there at the near post to glance it in. But the referee is going to call this one back for offside. Is it a goal or is it offside? Little goal review here. But the goal has been given, it would seem. Almiron there put the ball in, and Isak with the header made it 1-0. I was going to say it didn't look offside to me when I was watching it initially. The VAR wanted to take a little look. But we are now back on terms. A really quick reaction from the team. I think if we can get out of this one with a draw, I'm fairly happy with that outcome. Be interesting to see how some of the other teams perform. You can see all the big teams taking leads quite early on in their games. Liverpool, United, Spurs, West Ham, all still to play later in the day. But here's Trippier, puts the ball in, Watkins clears it. Now Diaby on the attack, plays it down to Zaniolo, back to Diaby again. He's got two players on the far side. We bunched up a bit around him, and he's still going Diaby. He finds Zaniolo, Digne, Douglas Luiz there going for it, but this time Nick Pope pushes it over and out of play rather than back into play for Douglas Luiz to score. He takes the corner though, it's gone in, Joe Linton away. Isak trying to press. Watkins can't win the header as Lascelles gets it clear. And at the moment, Aston Villa very much on top. They are at home though, so I do kind of expect that. Can we get a quick, late first half goal here? Trippier with the ball, plays it down the line, but to no one in particular. And Digne clears it up quite well. Now Matty Cash on the attack down the right. McGinn couldn't get to it. Well intercepted by Targett. Here's Tonali. Torres, we need to see something of him today. Joe Linton over the top, and Isak is in, but it's over the bar. That was offside as well, I think, but it means that it finishes 1-1 at the end of the first half. I'm fairly happy with that. I mean, if we get a draw here against this very strong Aston Villa team, then I'm fairly happy. Zaniolo finds Diaby. He turns. It looked like he was squaring to shoot, and indeed he does eventually pull the trigger. Moussa Diaby there, getting it past Nick Pope, who's been questionable in goal. I would argue he probably should have got a hand to that one. Diaby there just peels off the defender, and then given so much time, look at that corridor of space he had to pull that shot off. Way past the reach of Pope and into the back of the net. I'll let Pope off that one. I blame the defenders there for creating that huge corridor in the centre of our defensive unit, which Diaby was able to benefit from. Now Joe Linton brings the ball forward. He finds Torres. He's taking it down the left flank. Pulls it back to Tonali. Over to Anderson. He can have a shot. Oh, I thought that had gone in, but it is just the wrong side of the post. Now Luca Dean cleared away. Zaniolo still has it, and I thought again that's going into the top corner, but luckily it's just gone high and wide, and we're over the hour mark now. I'm not too worried at this stage. I mean, Aston Villa is still going to have the lion's share of possession and chances, I would think, going into the end of this game. Maybe now we just need to make a little bit of a refresh, bring Harvey Barnes on, bring Callum Wilson on, and just see if they can make a breakthrough up top. It's Martinez to Pau Torres. playing out of the back, but Barnes there using his pace to get a tackle in, but we couldn't keep it. Tonali, though's got that forward. Now Pau Torres intercepts. Martinez to Konsa. Kamara out wide to Cash. He's on the attack down the right flank. Puts the ball in. We've got to clear that. Lascelles does, but straight to Dean. And Nick Pope is genuinely lucky that Dubravka has been sold, because on this performance, I would be looking to sell him. This is, or at least drop him for the next game. This is really poor from him. Dean there. I mean, maybe he catches Pope flat-footed, but it wasn't exactly like it was tucked in that far corner there. He probably should have got a hand to it. But we are now 3-1 down. We've got a free kick though. Kieran Trippier on it. He is a specialist. And it's pushed over by Martinez. We just need to freshen up Joe Linton. But I don't really have anyone to bring on. So I'm going to throw Anthony Gordon into central midfield. Botman is there, but couldn't get to it. Now Anderson. Into Torres in a great position. But Dean with the tackle. And he has injured Luke Dean there on the follow through. I was hoping it would be a penalty, but it wasn't. And we are nearly out of time here. Just going to try and encourage the team. I mean, there's literally nothing else we can do. I don't want it to open up to 4-1 or anything. So 9 minutes of added time. You can see the game has captured those new Premier League rules about added time. So maybe it's not all over yet. Cash. Back to Diego Carlos. Now Pau Torres. Longley to Zaniolo. He's beaten his man there, but we managed to get it back. But nobody there doing the running for us. Diaby out wide. He's still kept it in. Tonali intercepts. Torres loses it. Poor touch from him. Now Watkins to Zaniolo. And it's 4-1. Flag has gone up there. I have a feeling that's onside though. Let's wait and see if there's a replay pop up. Goal disallowed. So it stays 3-1. Have to say, I think we're a little bit lucky there. This does feel a bit more like a 4-1 defeat to me than a 3-1 defeat. So we'll do well to get out of it like this. But indeed we do. I mean, the XG wasn't too far apart there. They've sort of overperformed theirs. We've underperformed ours, or they're about hit ours. But it was a fairly flat performance in the second half after we pulled it back to 1-1 to then be beaten quite comprehensively in the second half. We were away from home. Aston Villa are a good team, but I certainly would expect that match to be a draw ordinarily. But next up we have Bournemouth at home. I'm hoping that can be an easy win for us to get our season off the mark properly, and then we'll take on Crystal Palace away, Brighton at home. So difficult run in after that. Everton as well will be a challenge. So we really need to get 3 points against Bournemouth. So ahead of this Bournemouth game, we have made one more signing, and that is to bring Bove into the club. He cost us £19 million. The club think he's worth between 13 and 17.5, but I'm very happy now that I can clearly see his stats, particularly his teamwork and work rate and determination, all indicators that he's going to develop into a world-class player over the next few years. So I'm very happy to bring him in. He's also going to get a start here, make his debut, because we are still struggling in central midfield with Longstaff not quite fit enough to start. So it's going to be Bove backing up Joe Linton and Tonali, a very tackle-heavy central midfield going on there. Otherwise, the team is the same as it was for the last game. I'm going to give the defenders another chance and hope they can perform well. Otherwise, Fabian Schär will be coming in for the next game. I also decided not to let Sean Longstaff leave. There was that £17 million bid for him, but I'd already bought Bove in. And if I was just going to sort of buy someone in the ages of 32, 34, it didn't really make a lot of sense just to bank the cash, because there's no one else that I'm desperate to go after. There's no other position I'm keen to necessarily make a signing in. So I thought I'd rather keep Sean Longstaff around rather than just pocket around £10 million in profit. Now, there will probably have to be an early substitution because Bove is not quite match fit either. But I can always bring Sean Longstaff in just to shore up the game if we are struggling. But against Bournemouth, we should really be getting a good victory here. And Trippier with the throw-in gets us off the mark. He's got the ball back. Now Lascelles over to Bove. Let's see what he can do on his debut. Botman plays it down the line for target. Ball into Isak, but Neto does come and claim it for Bournemouth. I'd be hoping for a 3 or 4-0 victory in this game. I certainly want to keep a clean sheet after the poor performance in defence last game, which definitely cost us against Villa. Nick Pope certainly needs to have a better game if he does face much by way of shots in this match. Trippier on the attack down the right, beats his man, puts the ball across to Torres. It's come down to target, and he drills it into that bottom corner. Our first assist there for Torres as well. An unlikely goal scorer in Matty Target, but he was on target that time, planting the ball in the bottom corner. Trippier put it in, great key ball from him, and then that just split through the Bournemouth defender, goalkeeper and our own player to get into that bottom corner. But we're off to an absolute lightning start. Torres has got a bruised ankle. Pretty sure he'll be alright to carry on from that. But that does get our season up and running. First time this season that we have taken the lead over a team, because we had to come back from 1-0 down to level with Villa before ultimately losing. But so far, no shots on target from Bournemouth. It's a pretty lacklustre game. We are controlling possession as you would expect against Bournemouth and at home. A few fouls, no cards yet. Not much by way of threat coming from those individual player ratings on the Bournemouth side. Man United now currently top of the league as it stands. You can see Everton there currently on 4 points as it stands. And they're one of the teams we're facing in the near future. But here's Lascelles over to Botman, not long till half time. So hopefully this is a chance for us to know us conceding late on. Good play from the team there as the ball's worked out to target. He's on a high, he looks for Isak, and it's come. I don't know if that was off the post or off Neto, but it had to be cleared by the Bournemouth defence. Now we've got a corner. Expecting a lot here from Trippier. And it goes. Botman is there, but it is cleared out. And that should probably get us to half-time. But we've got another corner here, and it's Torres taking this one. In swinger. Joe Linton's back there. And Joe Linton finds the back of the net as Torres gets his second assist of the game. He's looking like a very good signing already. Torres there, making sure we get the in-swinger. It gives more momentum to the heading player as they put that one in the bottom corner. And we are 2-0 up against Bournemouth. I am very happy with how that's going so far. Mostly now in the second half, I just want to focus on shoring up that defensive unit. I might even drop back the attacking to a slightly more positive approach, at least for now, as Almiron tries to chip that one to the back stick, but Neto is there. He now launches it forward, but Lascelles should clean that up easily, and does. Joe Linton out wide to Almiron. There's two in the box for him. It's gone to the far side, but Neto again just easily able to claim that one. He's now looking for the distribution, just going long towards Solanke, but Lascelles wins it again. Now Isak, he's got Almiron through. He doesn't have to cross it this time, but again he fails to really make the most of that chance. And now we have a corner with Torres going for the hat-trick of assists, but Kelly sends it back to Torres, beats his man at the byline, and he does get his hat-trick of assists as it is 3-0 now with Isak planting that ball in the back of the net. A really, really great performance from Torres there. Did well to follow up his own ball. Absolutely sends the defender there. And as the ball comes across, Isak with the easiest finish of his life to make it 3-0. And we can definitely go to a more balanced approach now. Let's take Bove off. He's had a good time. Bring Sean Longstaff on. Joe Linton, can we have anybody we can bring on for him? Yeah, we've got Elliot Anderson there on the bench. Don't want him getting carded. And then Torres can probably come off for a standing ovation at this point of the game. We'll give Harvey Barnes the appearance there down the left flank. Totally in control of this game now at 3-0. Going to move to a more defensive approach as Almiron has the ball. Plays it to Tonali. There's a man on the far side. Brooks has just managed to get to that one as it's sent forward. Should be easy here for Lascelles to deal with. Back to Pope. Now Botman. Target. He's got players around him as he finds Barnes. Anderson picks up the ricocheted ball, finds Almiron in a good position. Not making the most of the wings here, but it might not matter. But Isak there has put that over. I think the flag went up anyway. Maybe that was just for the goal kick. And now we've got an injury to Matt Target. Can we even make a substitution? Got Dan Burn on there. No, that's all of our substitutions used. So it's going to have to be Longstaff. going back into that left-back position. We're going to move to a very defensive approach for these last few minutes of 10 men because I really want that clean sheet. Ball comes out to Philp. Now Solanke. Back to Philp again. We've done well to screen them there and get them pushed away from the goal. But here's Brooks. Well denied by Pope. It's going to be a tough last 5 minutes of stoppage time as Traore looks to swing in the corner. Taking his time over it. Lascelles gets it out to Traore. Now Philp. Oh, good tackle there from Tonali in the box. Now Isak on the counter-attack. He's got 2 players ahead of him. He's going down the wing. He's still going. And that is ricocheted to Neto in the Bournemouth goal. Now, can we just see this out? Last couple of minutes. Seneze brings the ball forward. A player I've signed many times on Football Manager. And Brooks there is beaten. It's come to Isak. Oh, big tackle there in defence. Metham to Seneze. Back to Neto. Oh, what's he doing? He's nearly lost it there to Isak. Tonelli heads it forward again. Senezi back to Neto. They're still happy to send it back to him. I'm not sure I would be as it goes forward. Longstaff with the header. It's come to Traore. Done the defender for pace there a little bit. Goes to the byline and Solanke has done the fake. And Dango takes our clean sheet with about a minute left of time. Traore did really well there. Trippier did well to keep up with him, but eventually the ball came in, and it was that a push on Solanke there from Botman? Either way, it didn't help, and he went through to the Dango to put the ball in the back of the net, and that is a full-time whistle. Very disappointed that we didn't keep the clean sheet there, but a very good win to bounce back from that Aston Villa match. Gives us our 3 points to get going this season. Sets us up well for the match against Crystal Palace as well. And then there's Brighton, Everton and Brentford. Now, when I come back with this series, it will almost certainly be for our first Champions League match with Newcastle. So definitely one to look forward to. So if you're new to the channel and this is a new series for you, do make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll try and get a video out each day if I can, but it might be a little bit less often than that if I'm honest. But do drop a like if you enjoyed it. And until next time, see ya.